this is Tony Taylor with Interconnect Mortgage, and I wanted to talk to the people that currently have their home listed for sale or are considering listing their home for sale. So one of the things that we hear very, very often is when a seller is considering offers on their property is they really focus in very often on how much of an earnest deposit or how much of financing compared to the purchase price is the prospective buyer securing. So the thought process in a broad stroke is that many people believe that if somebody's putting a large amount of money on deposit, or they're only financing a small percentage of the purchase price, that they are a better offer than somebody who may be presenting the exact same offer, or maybe even a slightly higher sales price, but may not have as big of a down payment, may not be putting as large of an earnest money on deposit. And so what I want you to take into consideration is at the end of the day, just because somebody put a bigger earnest money deposit or because somebody's financing a lower loan to value does not necessarily mean it's your best transaction. Just to give you an example out there, you have veterans that qualify for VA loans and they can go 100% financing. We do VA loans up to $3 million. Now, there are some money requirements once you cross different thresholds, depending on where your property is located. But if you can imagine, well, if I'm going to get 100% financing as a veteran, why do I need to put $30,000 into an escrow account? I'm a qualified buyer and I'm going to get my financing. So when a contract is written, more times than not, it has an inspection contingency, which gives the buyer an opportunity to have the property inspected. And if there's something that they don't like or is in a condition that they're not happy with, then they can go back and either cancel the contract or they can ask the seller to negotiate maybe a financial accommodation. Maybe they ask the seller to take care of something, a repair or a damage issue, condition issue, if you will. Then you also have a finance contingency. And it doesn't matter whether your client is putting down 50% of the purchase price or $500 on the purchase price. If they cannot get the financing and get to the finish line, their deposit that they put in earnest is going to be given back to them. Now, of course, everybody involved has to be paying attention to timelines and make sure that they meet all of their contractual obligations. They can't just, be the day of closing and go, it didn't happen and I want my money back. But that being said, if you had two people come in, one of them was offering you a full price offer, but had, again, a program, maybe it's a USDA, maybe it's a VA loan, maybe it's some other program, a down payment assistance, something like that, that allows your client to get in with a little bit of cash, okay? But they've offered you a bigger sales price versus the person who maybe is putting a large amount of money down or financing a low loan to value. If that person doesn't get financing, even at their lower loan to value, they're still getting that earnest money back. The same thing goes for the person putting $1,000 in an earnest deposit. So there are questions that you and your agent can ask about the prospective offer. And, obviously the money down and the terms of their financing are not the only things that you're probably looking at. You're probably looking at, how quickly can somebody close? You're probably looking at, again, if what are these time constraints? Are they offering short finance contingency periods, shorter inspection periods? Maybe you don't want to move for 90 days because you're building another home and that home's not going to be ready. Or maybe you've already sold or bought another home and you need to get this property liquidated. So the time frames of all these variables and your buyer's ability to fit what your needs are as closely as possible can affect the outcome of these things as well. What I would ask you to do is don't get stuck completely on the small down payment, the small earnest deposit when you're making that determination. I've seen many people take, a substantial amount of money less on their sales price because of this issue. And the truth is the person that was putting less money down might have actually been a higher qualified client in getting to the finish line. So making sure the right due diligence has been done on your buyer is absolutely critical. And if you have a really strong real estate agent, they're going to do some, exploring to make sure that you can flush that information out. And then if you're listing your home, if you're selling, maybe you're for sale by owner and you're just not sure and you want to have a conversation, we're always here and we're always happy to consult with you and help you identify the questions based on what's important to you. So, it's like anything. There's no one size fits all. Everybody's situation and circumstances are a little bit different. We want to help you capitalize on getting the most for your home And at the same time, we want to help people regardless of their background, their mortgage path. And I touched really quickly about the ability to move quickly. Just because you're doing, and I use the VA loan as an example, a VA loan doesn't mean it's going to take any longer. We can close a VA loan just as quickly as we can close a traditional conventional file. And there's no additional expense that's passed on to the seller. So there's really no reason, if you're thinking, okay, well, there's all these different things that come with a different loan type, not necessarily true. So, let's have the conversation. Let's talk it out. If we can help in any way, again, always a free consult. Interconnect Mortgage, 561-373-0371. Thanks.